past year, 2022, has been, I don't want to say a letdown in terms of everything, but it wasn't the year that a lot of us expected, and that's really kind of unfortunate when you look back at it, because I think a lot of us were expecting a ton of new games and new game announcements and things like that, and at the end of the day, we didn't get a lot of that. We got, there was some great games for sure, but there was still, a significant amount of games that were delayed. We're still paying for like the COVID situation. There's just a lot going on that unfortunately kind of stalled progress on what we were getting, and that to me honestly is very unfortunate. And when Microsoft comes out and we hear this news right here, which by the way, keep this with a grain of salt because we don't know if this is true or not. I'm hoping that it's true because it would be great. Listen, I look back at the pandemic and I realize, it was a serious deal or whatever. I think the jury's still out. We'll never know exactly what went on, but I still think that it's we feel all these effects of it, and it's just really kind of a shame that us as fans, we kind of end up getting video games. We get like a really short end of the stick because of what happened, and like I said, I think that it helped gaming grow, but then it also stagnated it due to the fact that we weren't getting these studios that weren't able to be in the same rooms together and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens, but I do think that what Microsoft has up their sleeves has been pretty incredible, and I'm happy to see what looks to be like things getting back to normal at the very least. Now listen, that's no guarantee that Microsoft is going to run away with anything or anything like that, but I do think that we are in a very good space for Microsoft right now. You know what I mean? I think that that's one of the things that is probably best for everybody, and and that's what makes me happy about it. So here's this rumor that came out, and it looks like Microsoft might be planning some kind of event for early 2023, which I think would be cool. So we know the Game Awards came and went. Definitely ended up feeling a little disappointing from an Xbox perspective. There was plenty of games announced for the platform, but none of them came from Xbox Game Studios. Since then, Windows Central published a report on Xbox's lack of first-party games at the show, revealing that according to a tentative and unverifiable rumors, that there's actually potential for Xbox event in the first quarter of 2023. And this is what it said. I've heard some tentative and unverifiable rumors recently that Microsoft may be exploring some kind of event for quarter one of 2023, possibly in the vein of its XO events of the pre-pandemic age. The most recent XO was back in 2019, which offered a decent look at upcoming games while revealing some unannounced ones, such as Grounded. For the sake of Xbox fans, I hope this particular rumor turns out to be true. Now, as Windows Central states here, there's no guarantee that the rumor will be true, hence the tentative and unverifiable mention. But nonetheless, it still gives hope that Microsoft might have something planned for early next year. Now, we do know that Xbox's Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter after the Game Awards last week to assure that fans will not have to wait too long for the next thing from us. So fingers crossed. And this is what he said. He said, "We have a lot planned to show and share about an incredibly exciting year ahead of 2023. Appreciate folks are eager to learn and see more. Timing is always key, but don't worry, you'll not have to wait too long for what's next from us." So I do hope that that's something that we see. Look, no matter what Microsoft does, the FTC or whoever is going to already feel one way or the other about it. So I feel like they might as well go out there and, make some people happy. Let's just be real. Like, I'm a huge Xbox fan, and I can admit that it's been a lackluster couple of years. At the end of last year, it was decent. But then, like, you see this year, and they really dropped the ball, even with, like, the Halo stuff. And that's really disappointing, to say the least, and I do hope that we get something before too long from them. Like, we need some kind of new announcements. We need something coming out of out of this situation. Now, the interesting thing for me is, and I've always found this to be kind of interesting and sort of a thing that kind of gets me excited as a gamer, is that, where there's smoke, there's fire. Right, we don't want to sit there and go, oh, well, you know what, there's probably not going to be something. I'm sure that there's going to be something. We're out of the whole pandemic era of everything. So getting back to being able to do, multiple things and having showcases and all that kind of stuff. I think that's exactly what we need. And you got to show people. To me, I think that it is absolutely incredible that Microsoft has been able to stay on Sony's heels in the midst of literally having nothing, right? Like literally having nothing, and they're nipping right at Sony's heels. So yeah, I do think that it's pretty incredible to see what they've been able to accomplish. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when they actually start having, a lot of these games and things like that start to finally hit. It's going to be very important for them to be able to do that. And, I like the fact that they've been very upfront and kind of outgoing when it comes to, hey, we're going to offer Sony this or that. We're going to do this. They've been very upfront with a lot of this stuff. I feel like they get a very, I think that they've been kind of dragged through the mud a little bit. And that's really unfortunate because I feel like they've done so much good for the industry, especially lately. Now, listen, anything can change, but, I like the fact, and I think the fact that, I think Game Pass is a very good thing. I don't think it's something that it's for everybody, but I also think it's kind of weird the way that a value with all these great titles is being looked at and questioned as being something where the quality would not be there or something like that. This is something that I argue with all the time on Twitter. People are like, well, they'll ruin the quality, they'll do this, they'll do that. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, if you have a service and you're trying to get people to subscribe to that service, you've got to have top-tier content. You can't put lackluster content in there. Like, people aren't going to want to flock to that. So I always thought that it was a little bit ridiculous with that sort of sentiment. I feel like Microsoft is delaying games. This is a different Microsoft than what people realize, and let's just be real about it. The old Microsoft was rushing out games. They weren't really going to make sure that they were of a high quality. And even if you might not have liked it, or you might think, quote unquote, Microsoft had nothing to do with that, over the past couple of years, all the studios that Microsoft have, even if they were locked into like third-party deals or whatever, even stuff like Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop or Psychonauts 2, all these games were reviewed and did pretty well. And I think that's going to continue. Stuff like Outer Worlds, that's like a Game of the Year nominee. That means that game by a small studio was, and I'm not saying Obsidian is small. I'm saying the team that did that didn't have hundreds and hundreds of people at the time. But basically what I'm saying is we have this situation where that studio with not as nearly many resources or money or time put that game together that was a new IP and got a Game of the Year nod. And now they have even more time, more money, more backing, so they could do even better. And that's the point that I try to make when I bring this stuff up. Anyway, with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Sound off, rate, come subscribe. What do you guys think? Do you want to see some kind of event early next year? Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.